I want to start this video out by saying, guys, if you're in silver and gold, I absolutely feel your pain now. I was playing a little bit on Smurf, just to kind of look at some of the mistakes that people would make in that elo and kind of looking how to capitalize on them. This is the whole point of this video. The whole point of this video is to like teach you how to capitalize on mistakes that are frequently made at gold and silver, etc., low elo levels. My God, the amount of people that don't pick supports, randomly lock in the most ridiculous champions, or just go AFK because one thing went wrong at the start of the game is mind-boggling. I had 2 games on Smurf today. Played an Irelia game and a Fizz jungle game. In the Irelia game, which I'm going to show you to just illustrate some mistakes, we had Ashe top, Diana support, and an Olaf who just never ganked. In my Fizz game, I had an Ezreal who died to a tower dive as Ezreal support, by the way, then decided to go and take my bottom scuttle, which I clearly smited away from him, and then he proceeded to type in chat, "This first-time Fizz jungle player is gonna get trolled. I am going to run him down and he is going to lose this game." We won the game because I carried. But what I'm saying is I feel your pain. But don't worry. There is something we can do to fix it. So this is the game that I played. For context, this is my account that I haven't touched since the Japan server closed beta. And I couldn't move it to Europe, so I just left it over in Japan. So the account technically still lives in Japan, which is why when I'm on the menus or in Champion Select, it lags like crazy. But I get into European games, which is why my ping is fine. I'm clearly better. So the first thing to note is I'm clearly a better player than the majority of these guys, both mechanically and also game sense. So the one thing that I'm not going to be able to teach you in this video is how to get mechanically better. However, I will be able to show you specifically with Irelia some cool things that you can do to abuse certain power spikes and how you can play Irelia to be a bit more, effective in these elos. Because Irelia is a very difficult champion to play, and playing her at low elos when you don't know how to play her properly is a bit of a death sentence. But what you can pick up from this video is my decision making, when I abuse certain power spikes, when I choose to go in and when I choose not to go in, and also a look at objective control and looking towards objective control where I can do that as a mid laner. My initial advice to you would be, if you're really interested in climbing, jungle and mid are your 2 best roles to do so. If you are not able to play jungle or mid, then playing support or solo lane is also solid if you're going to roam a lot. And in AD carry, you definitely can carry, but you need to play a very specific set of champions. People like Jinx and sort of these very kind of like easy carries to play are the types of champions that can do well in low elo. But to be honest with you, if you really want to climb, the best roles to main are jungle and mid. And I'm going to talk about why that is in just a moment. So I think the number 1 tip that I can give you is map awareness. Map awareness is absolutely the most crucial skill that you can learn when you're starting to rank up in Wildrift. And specifically, the reason I'm talking about mid and jungle is because mid and jungle often can have the most impact on the map by having good map awareness. Jungle, obviously, I believe, is the best role to climb. You're constantly roaming. You can impact every lane. But mid, you can very easily rotate between lanes. And you can see on your screen right now, I didn't manage to get ahead in laning phase, but I noticed that the Katarina was fighting my Olaf in the jungle. And just by looking at the map, I was able to rotate down and pick up a double kill very early on in this game. But map awareness is not just about that, it's also about looking at the state of the other lanes. And I'm going to show you another clip from this game where I was able to abuse that just by keeping an eye on the map, knowing when I could and could not roam. So this was a few moments later. I'd picked up another kill in the laning phase, and if you look at the bottom side of the map where the pings are coming through, I'm saying on my way, because those guys are overextended and they very likely don't have the vision to compensate. Now I see the Katarina try and make the same move here, but I decide to catch her out very early on, building stacks up with my Irelia passive as quickly as I can. You want to try and maintain those stacks by using your first ability on minions, and that was what I was able to do here. They overstep, and I end up killing the Varus. And then with my ultimate, which I miss, I don't decide to go for the tower dive on the lot. But this was another example of just being aware of the map. Like, I could just see that bot lane were overextending, they were pushed in. Like, even if I didn't get a kill, or even if I didn't get a gank off, relieving pressure on that lane is going to help my bot lane do well. So that was just another example of being aware of the map and trying to coordinate my play around the state of the map as well. The next example is going to be talking about objectives, and especially towers. Honestly, towers are undoubtedly some of the most undervalued objectives at the lower levels of play in this game. Now you can see, look at the bottom side of the map where the warning pings are coming out right now. There is quite clearly a massive dive or a massive attempt at a gank happening with the Master Yi. This is something that I could very easily roam to and have an impact, but for me, taking mid lane tier 1 is a load of gold for me specifically, but also a load of gold and map pressure for my team. So I can see that I don't need to roam immediately to the bottom side of the map because my bot lane has yet to die. They're still kind of keeping them busy for the time being. And then I can make the roam afterwards. Regardless of what happened on that bottom side of the map, it was always a good idea for me to be able to... Oh, that's a nice flash from the Varus. It was always a good idea for me to be able to go for that mid lane tier 1 because it essentially was a huge amount of gold and map pressure in our favor. One of the things that low elo players massively undervalue is the importance of towers. Not only for the gold that they provide for your team, but also because of how ridiculously important they are for map pressure. Like, that mid lane tier 1 means that it's very difficult for the enemy to safely enter their own jungle, especially on the blue side. This Katarina comes in, but watch this, right? She's got nowhere safe to go. Like, she has to walk so much further to get to a safe place, and that makes her much more vulnerable. So as you can see here, I was just able to manage to get away. This is a really lovely little play, by the way. Just uses that to reduce the damage, and then Ashe heals me to get out of the fight. Somehow escape from that. But if they had that mid lane tier 1 up, I would have been dead. Absolutely, 100% of the time there. So having that mid lane tier 1 paid massive value for me. But also has allowed us to springboard the game pretty heavily. So I'm now 9-0-1 with 2 completed items. Like, I'm in a great spot right now. That's not to say ignore dragons, by the way. I did talk to you about the Fizz jungle game that I also played with the trolling Ezreal. In that game, I made a point of, as a jungler, to make sure I was there contesting every objective that I could, which allowed me to get pretty much every dragon in the game, which would set our team up for success despite us doing not that well across the board because we had a trolling Ezreal pretty much the entire game. Dragons are really important. A lot of those buffs provide massive team utility and also increase the chances of winning significantly. Damage increases, movement speed increases, shielding, and Omnivamp, which allows you to heal off both magic and physical damage, are all really important things for your team's success, including the game-ending Elder Dragon, which gives you an increased version of the soul that you were contesting for. In this game, in the Fizz jungle game, we had a Infernal Elder Dragon, which is one of the best Elder Dragons that you can get in the game for game-ending capabilities. So definitely make sure that as a jungler especially, but if you can, try and encourage your team to do so, go for the dragons. They are absolutely of the utmost importance and can easily help you win games in your elo. My third tip is stop overextending, and this is something that I see a lot in not just this level of play, but also even in the professional level of play. People don't know when to be defensive. They don't know when to what we do what we just call catch waves, just wait for waves to come to your base and get the free gold. Like here, okay, admittedly I am low, but they don't really have any idea where the rest of my team is. So even if they kill me, what do they think happens to the rest of their team? Like, they probably just end up dying. Like, I somehow got away with that. With a good bit of damage reduction and some good stuns, but nonetheless, they shouldn't have been in that position in the first place. Even if they killed me, they end up losing way more than they would have gained in that scenario. Another classic example is here. Like, look at where the Lux is. Why is there any reason for Lux to be this far up, apart from you can put some vision over the Baron wall? You don't need to have vision that deep. They have no waves to protect them, and they just end up getting massively caught out here. Like, I get a triple kill onto 3 people because they were just overextended and walked in one by one. Like, look at where their waves are. Look at a huge wave in the top lane. Like, why was no one just defensively catching that wave? This is something that I see a problem even in the high-low level of play. People don't know when to just sit back and let the gold come to them. That's the only way you can get back into games sometimes. You just need to farm waves as much as you can. Overextending often just leads to you losing the game quicker. Fourth tip is understanding power spikes, and this is something that you won't be able to learn instantly. It definitely comes with time and experience, but a power spike is a point in the game at which you are either stronger through an item purchase or through a level upgrade. A lot of champions clearly power spike at level 5 because they get access to their ultimate. But for instance, I'm about to show you a little clip where I get my Lich Bane on Jungle Fizz, and this is clearly a huge item spike for me. you can see that it massively increases my power level and it allows me to deal a much more damage to these champions, as you can see here, which gives me a really good 2v1 opportunity versus an Ahri and a Jinx. This game was, by the way, the one where the Ezreal was trolling and decided to run it down from very early on into the game. So this was definitely a hard one to carry. And actually, I did not play optimally this game. However, also you're seeing, I'm seeing the ridiculous amount of Master Yi jungles at low elo. Like, it's played in almost every single game. But this game shows you exactly why it's not particularly strong, even as the game progresses. Next big item upgrade that provided a big power spike for me as a Fizz was the Rabadon's Death Cap buy, which I just picked up at this moment in time. As you can see, I'm 6-3-2. It's not like the game's going fantastically well. We do have an Ezreal that is taking my entire jungle pretty much all the time. So I haven't been able to farm almost anything. And the game in general, we have a Teemo, we have an Ashe who's trying to play by herself. And yeah, it's pretty rough. The game is pretty rough so far, but the Rabadon's Death Cap is a huge power spike that allows me to do much more damage, basically one-shotting the Annie there, and I'm able to charge down the Ahri for a double kill here as well. So Rabadon's Death Cap, another big item spike that I knew that I was able to abuse, and it allowed me to find another fight and essentially start to get our team back on track in this game. The last and potentially one of the most useful tips I can give you is making sure you have solid vision control whilst denying the enemy vision wherever you can. This is a huge pick onto a Jinx with things like the Baron up, as well as the dragon spawning in 60 seconds. Like, the Jinx walked into an area where I had vision control and she just died. So just make sure at your level of play, you're trying to set up aggressive vision in the enemy jungle, like where I did, around the blue buff or around the red buff. You're looking to make picks wherever possible, but don't make the mistake that Jinx made. Don't walk blind towards the river when you have no idea where the enemy is. And it can actually be game-breaking. It is literally make or break for you sometimes, depending on how you play it out. And that's one of the things that has won me so many games in my climb up towards the higher ranks. Like, just being able to use vision effectively and denying the enemy as much vision as possible, whilst also utilizing my own vision setups to catch the enemies out. Like, if you make a pick on a Jinx at 19 minutes into the game, you're gonna win because that is a huge pick-off. And that can often turn early game teams and give them the lifeline that they need to end up winning. Like right here as well, the enemy doesn't have vision, of anybody that's following up here. So Yasuo obviously goes very aggressive, but this is the setup that allowed us to get the Elder Dragon and eventually end up winning the game. It is a huge, huge win for us. And a lot of it came from just finding the engage, but also making these good vision plays where we were just able to abuse the fact that the enemy did not have good vision control of their own jungle. So I'm actually I'm going to highlight some areas that are good for setting up aggressive vision control in the enemy jungle to potentially allow you to make picks like that I made on the Jinx. So some good areas for vision control are this brush here. It's good to have some area of vision control here. Very good to have vision control in these areas. So this means that if you're in the river and anyone is coming here, you can very easily set up a pick as they try to walk towards the river to either set up vision around an objective, or they're just trying to come to the river for whatever reason. For the red side, it's good to have vision here. It's good to have vision here. And sometimes good to have vision here and here in these brushes. This means that if anybody's either here or walking over the Baron pit and you can actually catch them over the Baron pit, those are good areas for you to have some good aggressive vision control. I would also recommend that when you take towers, you put some wards down either at the mid 2 towers so you can see where the enemies are walking between their jungle. That's always another good thing. So these are some areas that you can use to put some vision control down and potentially make picks around crucial objectives like Baron and Dragon. I hope this has helped you. If you're interested in me playing more games on my Smurf, showing you how I try and climb in all of the games that I play in, I'd be more than happy to help you do so. By the way, this is why Master Yi sucks. Look, we're at 20 minutes into the game and Master Yi's still getting one shot because, like, at the end of the day, he's a champion that's incredibly weak to CC. But there we go. I've said my piece about Master Yi. I'm happy to do some more games, at this level and show you how I'm climbing. I'm playing on this account purely for fun. Like, it is a game. I don't expect to play too many games on this account. I'd rather focus on my main, but it is something that's quite relaxing to do. So if you're interested, I will definitely do more of these types of videos. And I hope you help learn a little bit about how to climb out of the lower elos. If you enjoyed the video, make sure you like, subscribe, and hit the bell. I've had so much support. And so much congratulations for the 100,000 subs hit, which has been amazing. And I've absolutely loved all of the support I've had since Monday. So I'll keep going at it and keep making the videos, and maybe some collaborations will be coming up soon. I'd like to do something with Hells because he's an awesome person. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed, guys. I'll see you soon.